Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing well today. As you can see from the title, this does have to do with demons. Has to do with the demons. I don't believe at all that they are fallen angels. The one's in sleep paralysis anyways, so I didn't intend to make a video today if what happened to me, well, early this morning, 3 to 4 o'clock time, didn't occur. Sleep paralysis. And I tell you how it all came to be. And so I'll tell you that in a second, but first I'll say this. I don't like YouTube channels that all they make their content around are demons and deliverance and not focusing on the one true God, right? Not to say that they're not saved. It's just I don't understand it, why you would focus so much on that part. I don't know, like there's so much fantastic stuff out there, but the reality is that these things are real. Now, that being said, I do not believe that we can see demons manifested in this world. What I mean is we can't see their actual bodies, okay? I do not believe that until I see that for myself. Even when I was a kid and saw something, I don't know. It almost reminds me of a scripture that, we have no business looking into certain things that we don't know about, right? Intruding into those things that we don't know about. People who worship the worshiping of angels. Was that Jude who said that, or was that James? Or was that Peter? I forget, but I believe it was one of Jesus' brothers. So, pardon me. So I don't believe that, but in a born-again believer, yes, these can not possess you. A person who is born again, with all this deliverance stuff and people like Isaiah Salvador, I think, a born-again Christian cannot be possessed by anything. If you have the true Spirit of God in you, that reminds me of, the vision that Muhammad had, right? And he was supposedly, he was possessed. And anyone is truly saved and is of God cannot be possessed like that. I know I'm going off topic, but it does matter. So, I believe certainly there are certain things in your life that could be going on that could set it off. Could it be things like food and sleep disorders and those types of things? Certainly, but that doesn't make them any less real, because for a saved Christian, for someone who believes in God, for someone who is saved, for some reason they still have entry into our dreams, or you and I are not conscious of this. But in sleep paralysis, certainly you can come to a recognition of something is wrong and call out to Jesus. 4 times I've done that, and each time the paralysis stopped. And one of those times, I woke up and purposely went back in because I do have a sleep disorder where I can fall back to sleep very easily, like heavy sleep. And so I went back into it to see if I could do it, and it worked again. So maybe you wouldn't do that, but I just had to see. And so how did this all come to be? I'll tell you this in a second. Sorry guys, I'm really suffering my abdomen still. What video do I not? It's just my stomach. So around the end of last night, I was watching. Have you ever seen the channel 3 of 7? He's a Navy SEAL, believes in God. He's, got a southern accent. He's got a long beard. I believe he may be a 5-point Calvinist. That doesn't make him not my brother, though. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I watched that. And I have prayed for Joe Rogan. I ask you too to do that. I believe Joe Rogan is a nice guy. I really do. You can tell. And, I used to listen to his podcast before, even when I was starting to look into God and everything, and I stopped watching that because some of the content just isn't good for a born-again believer. But, man, it's a good platform for people to go on. And I do believe people have been put on there by God, by prayer. I even prayed too, because I've seen videos just pray that, because it's a large platform and people can see it. Pray for both Joe and for the people who are going to see it. So, and I do believe that works. The prayers of a righteous man avails much. So he was on there, and he's had several people on there. Remember, he had Wesley Huff, but Wesley Huff, as good as he is, he didn't really, and many other people before him, say what they should say to him. And I understand they probably have anxiety around that. But, and I'm forgetting his name, his channel is 3 of 7. He went right into it and said, he said what he needed to say to Joe Rogan. I won't go into that further. You can watch that. He did a very good job on that. And I'm going to forward this video too so he can see this, if he even watches it. So I was watching 3 of 7 last night. I don't know how recent the video was, but it's called The Demon Came Back. So, he is a brother. Turned it to the channel. I wanted to know. I felt it was maybe something around, sleep paralysis. And I was listening to it, and the content of it was this. And remember what I said a few minutes ago about, could food set it off? Could sleep set it off? Keep listening. And I've wondered about this. Why does it happen at certain times? And so he was talking about, so he's a Navy SEAL, and he was talking about how another Navy SEAL that he knows, he knows for sure he's a Navy SEAL, stayed in a barracks in Germany that he had stayed in long ago, that this 3 of 7, I forget the brother's name, he had stayed in long ago, a barracks in Germany for Navy SEALs. And it's called The Demon Came Back because I guess guys who were in that barracks were getting sleep paralysis. And I'll make this very clear. All these things that you hear about aliens and abductions and all those, it's sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis can happen to you when you're sleeping in your car on the side of the highway, when you're sleeping in a sleeping tent in the woods, right? So it's not just in your bed, and that's why people report these things. And I'm not saying people don't see other things. It's just I have no business going into something I know nothing about. And if you haven't seen me before, I have a lot of pain, okay? And it's hard to speak. So I don't know how old this brother is. Maybe my age, maybe a bit older. I'm 46. He could be around the same age. In any case, he was in that barracks once, and I guess people were experiencing sleep paralysis, and it was frightening. You wonder, what the hell are these things? What do I mean by that? Well, there's a number of things that can happen in sleep paralysis. You can feel like you're floating, like in a dream. You're floating above stuff, and that could be pretty cool. But it can also, I think there's 4 or 5 different variations. The other one, which is probably the most common, is you are being smothered, as if someone is taking a pillow and pushing it into your head, or you're being buried alive. That's what it feels like. And it can feel like you're in it for hours, although it may just be minutes. Pretty scary stuff. You may see a demon. You may see a room around you. It doesn't always have to be your room. You can be in different places. But the very first one I saw, it looked like my own mother, but it wasn't my mother. It was a demon, and I could tell it was a demon, and it was moving back and forth like in a very strange way, and it was yelling at me. But it looked like my mom. My mom's no longer here. And that's one of the reasons I started to believe there was a hell. That was the first time. Since then, it's taken on other forms. Friends, people I've never even hung around with, but I know. Okay? They can stand right in front of you. And one of them, I've had 3 occasions of that. I think it's 3. Where I was actually able to see into their eyes. And one of them, their eyes were black. I believe my mom's eyes were black, but I wasn't close enough. The other one is incubus and succubus. That's what happened to me last night. Both of them. Don't question me. Both of them. They sexually assault you. You don't think this can happen? Just go look at the scientific evidence. Go look at the studies. You're in it. You feel it. You feel it. Sorry, it's exactly like sex. So, not good feelings, man. I'm not saying some of those times that those have happened haven't, but it's very invasive. It doesn't feel good, and it's evil. So not only this, there are other variations too. Like you can feel. This one was really, man, they're scary. They're frightening because you don't know what's going on. So here's another one. You probably remember me saying this. I was on my bed. So I'm in sleep paralysis all of a sudden. Even though I'm here, I'm at my old house, an old room. And I'm on my bed, and I start floating off the bed, and I know there's something underneath the bed. And I don't want to go on that floor. So I'm being shifted off of the bed, and it starts going down to the floor. And suddenly I'm on the floor, and I can't turn my head, I can't do anything. And then I start to rise up. And I'm rising up and starting to go towards the window. And the window was open, and it was dark outside that window, okay? And I knew there was some type of creature outside of that window that was like a demon, but I couldn't see it. The room was the room was 7/8 dark, and the outside was dark, but light enough. I thought I was going to go out that window, whatever that was, I don't know, but keep going up and up and up. You don't know what these things are, man. Well, they're, considering that God flooded the earth and killed all the things that were here, this isn't a fantasy, this is real. The things on the earth that plague us in our dreams and stuff like this and sleep paralysis, they're the Nephilim that died. Because the spirits do not die. So I do believe that. That's why they call them the disembodied. They no longer have a body, and their spirits are floating around. And we know this to be true by the pigs that the man that was in the cave, or you can say the one or two men, right? There's two variations of that story. And was it the Gessarenes, or any case, the man who was chained up, but he kept breaking those chains. He had the legion in him, and they went into the pigs and they went into the water. So they go out and they search for dry, through dry places, looking for a person to inhabit. That's what they do. And so when we fall asleep and we go into, sleep paralysis occurs in REM sleep. And they'll explain it scientifically to you all they want. But it's like people with Parkinson's disease have something called REM sleep behavior, where they're kicking and they're punching. They're trapped in that REM sleep and they're dreaming, but their body's moving. And like a man can choke his wife in their sleep. That happened to my neighbor who had motor neuron disease. Crazy. Just give me a sec. I'll give you exactly what happened. Huge spasms in my chest, man. Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. So you try to discern this. So I'm listening to this 3 of 7 guy, this brother, and he's talking about it. And he's talking about how he got an email from a Navy SEAL asking him, because I guess he heard about maybe some type of demon in those barracks. So this is a new Navy SEAL, and he's in the same barracks as the guy used to be in. And he's asking him about it. And that's why I called it Demon Came Back. And the guy was so scared, this younger guy who was now in Germany in this same barracks, that he had to go take his pillow and blanket and sleep beside another one of his teammates, that he was so scared. And I remember him saying this at the end. He said, I wonder if it's because we live such rough lives, on the edge, that this happens. And I'll just call you 3 of 7. And if you're listening to me, no, it's not because of that. It may be partly due to that, but I live with 12 pain disorders. Is that part of it? Are you right in that, maybe? I live a very rough life in terms of physical pain, intractable pain. Is that part of it? I question that. I just have a really hard life, but I still work around it, right? And but is that it? Is that what it is? Why it's happening? Is it because a person has trauma in their life? Why does it seem that people who are saved seem to get it? I feel free. I feel free in my spirit. I don't feel fear in my life. I do have trauma, but I've really worked through those traumas. It's just a lot of pain that I deal with. That's my issue. So here's why I'm making this video, aside from the things that I've already told you. So I listened to that video last night, and I thought to myself, because I didn't know for sure whether your video was going to be on the topic of sleep paralysis or not, but I kind of felt so. And it was nearing the end of my night. It was probably 30 minutes to go, and at the end of my night, I sit here and I take my pain med. I make sure I get some. Anyways, I have to take some stuff before I go to bed, to do with hydration and nutrition and other things. But so I sit around and listening to the video, and I hear your story. I listen to the whole thing, and I say to myself in my mind, oh man, this has happened to me. It's got to be at least 7 to 10 times over the last 6 years. That nearing the end of my night, I'm listening to a video that people are talking about sleep paralysis. So I say in my mind, oh man, there's 30 minutes to go. I really don't like getting into these episodes at all. I hate them. It's good though when you call out Christ's name and they go away. And it does happen. It will happen with everyone who does it. I said in my mind, oh no, here we go again. And I said a prayer to God. I said, please do not let them in, because I'm about to go to sleep. And no, I didn't worry about it like that, but I thought, oh man, this is something that may happen. And I tried to forget about it, and I did. But I said that prayer. I never said a thing out loud. I don't talk to myself. Not that I didn't. So the question is, so I fell asleep, I got it, and I woke up, and I got up, I walked around, because quite honestly, I'm going to tell you the complete truth. If I wanted to, I could have gone back into that and had sex with those things. I'm not kidding you, because that was the content, that was the type that they decided to come at me with. Like I said, there's multiple variations. You can go search those out. There's about 5 different variations, and you can add 6 probably when you can mix them all together. So it can begin by choking you and go out into, you start floating, and you'd have to do research to see the full extent of what these can do. And some of them, it's impossible to call out Jesus Christ's name, because you may have not had one for a month or two, and then suddenly you fall asleep, and then you're in one. You don't know where you are. You don't know what's happening, and that's why these things are they're cowards. They're cowards, man. This is the way they try to attack you. So they try to find the best opening where you cannot defend yourself and call out the name of Christ. That is what I want to say. I didn't make it known about this, so they know what's going on in this world. That's the point I'm making. They know what's going on. I'm not doing bad. I'm attending 2 schools at once. I'm very busy. So it doesn't have to do with any stress or any of those things. It just doesn't. So take from it what you will. I will do my best to send this to you. I'll just write a comment on that video and tell you I made this video, and I hope this helps some other people, and God bless.